The secret of Randolph Scott's scandalous life, his ending was extremely tragic. Randolph Scott was born George Randolph Scott on January 23, 1898, in Orange County, Virginia, was a prominent American actor best known for his roles in Western films. His early years were shaped by the countryside of the Old Dominion, and his upbringing in a prominent Virginian family gave him a grounding in the values of hard work and integrity. His father, George Grant Scott, was a prosperous businessman, and his mother, Lucille Crane Scott, provided a nurturing home environment. The family's affluence afforded Randolph a comfortable upbringing and an education that would later contribute to his successful career in Hollywood. Scott's interest in sports and the outdoors began in his youth. He was an avid participant in a variety of athletic activities, including football and tennis, which helped to shape his strong and rugged physique, a trait that would later become a signature of his on-screen persona. His early experiences in Virginia also instilled in him a deep appreciation for the American West, a theme that would prominently feature in many of his film roles. Randolph Scott attended the Virginia Military Institute, where he continued to excel in sports and academics. His time at Virginia Military Institute was marked by his leadership skills and his dedication to both his studies and athletic pursuits. After graduating in 1917, Scott's life took a significant turn when he joined the U.S. Army to serve in World War I. His military service was brief but impactful, as it demonstrated his commitment to duty and his willingness to serve his country. Following the war, Scott returned to the United States and initially pursued a career in business. However, his life took another turn when he decided to move to Hollywood in the late 1920s to seek a career in acting. His entry into the film industry was modest, with small roles in silent films and early talkies, but his natural charisma and commanding presence soon caught the attention of producers. Randolph Scott's breakthrough came in the 1930s when he began to secure more prominent roles. His tall, athletic build and rugged good looks made him a natural fit for westerns, a genre that would come to define his career. One of his early successes was in the film Heritage of the Desert, 1932, where his portrayal of a heroic figure resonated with audiences and established him as a leading man in Hollywood. Throughout the 1930s and 1940s, Scott starred in numerous westerns, becoming a quintessential figure in the genre. His performances in films such as The Last of the Mohicans, 1936, and The Road to Reno, 1938, showcased his versatility and solidified his reputation as a skilled and reliable actor. His work during this period was characterized by his strong, stoic characters and his ability to convey both physical strength and emotional depth. Randolph Scott's association with westerns reached its zenith in the 1950s. During this decade, he became synonymous with the genre, starring in a series of highly successful films that defined his career and cemented his legacy. Collaborations with director Bud Boetticher were particularly noteworthy, as they produced a string of acclaimed westerns, including 7 Men from Now, 1956, and Comanche Station, 1960. These films are celebrated for their taut storytelling, moral complexity, and Scott's compelling performances. Scott's portrayal of the quintessential Western hero, a figure who is both rugged and principled, resonated deeply with audiences. His characters often embodied the values of honor, justice, and bravery, and his performances were marked by a combination of stoic resolve and nuanced emotion. His work in westerns not only defined his career but also contributed to the shaping of the genre itself, influencing future generations of actors and filmmakers. Randolph Scott, a beloved figure in the golden age of Hollywood, lived a life that was often shrouded in mystery, particularly regarding his personal relationships. One of the most intriguing and enduring stories about Scott is his relationship with fellow actor Cary Grant. The two men lived together off and on for 12 years, a living arrangement that has sparked rumors and speculation for decades. Scott and Grant first met in 1932 at the Paramount studio when Scott was filming Sky Bride and Grant was working on Sinners in the Sun. Their connection was immediate, and they soon decided to share a home, a bold move in an era when such close male relationships were often viewed with suspicion. In 1944, after over a decade of cohabitation, Scott and Grant ceased living together, though they remained close friends for the rest of their lives. Their bond was undeniably deep, and whether or not it crossed into romantic territory has been a point of debate. However, in modern times, the question of whether they were lovers or not might seem less shocking or relevant. In the 1930s and 1940s, though, this would have been considered a scandal of the highest order. The nature of their relationship was, and remains, speculative, but the fact that they were extremely close is undeniable. Randolph Scott provided Cary Grant with something he desperately needed: stability. Grant, born Archibald Leach, came from a difficult background marked by poverty and emotional turmoil. He struggled with insecurities throughout his life, and in his early years in Hollywood, he was still finding his footing in an industry that demanded perfection. Scott, on the other hand, though equally private, had a grounding presence. He was a pillar of strength for Grant, who was just beginning his journey to superstardom. Their friendship, regardless of the romantic rumors, was an essential part of Grant's rise to fame. Without the calm and support of Scott, it's possible Grant might never have achieved the immense success he eventually enjoyed. Over time, both men, like many of their Hollywood peers, settled into heterosexual relationships. Scott, known for his rugged cowboy roles, married twice, and Grant eventually had multiple high-profile marriages. However, in the context of the 1930s and 1940s, living openly as a gay or bisexual man was not only career suicide but could lead to severe personal consequences. The public eye was unforgiving, and Hollywood had an image to maintain. Studios often went to great lengths to protect the private lives of their stars, crafting carefully curated public personas that left no room for deviation from traditional values. For actors like Scott and Grant, aligning themselves with societal expectations of heterosexual relationships was not just a professional necessity but a means of survival. By the 1950s, the rise of tabloid journalism made discretion even more vital. The introduction of gossip columns and exposés posed a serious threat to those who dared to live outside the norms. Figures like Hedda Hopper and Luella Parsons wielded incredible power, able to make or break careers with a single rumor. For Scott and Grant, this meant that whatever their relationship might have been, it had to be handled with the utmost care. The stakes were simply too high. Hollywood was a place where appearances were everything, and the cost of being open about one's private life could be devastating. When looking at the evidence, both circumstantial and anecdotal, it becomes difficult to dismiss the idea that Scott and Grant were more than just friends. Their living arrangement, the length of time they spent together, and their enduring closeness all point to a bond that went beyond mere friendship. Though they never publicly confirmed the nature of their relationship, the signs suggest that their connection was indeed romantic. In a time when being gay or bisexual was considered a career-ending scandal, Scott and Grant had to navigate their personal lives with caution. Nonetheless, the depth of their affection for each other is clear, and in today's world, their love story would likely be celebrated rather than hidden. Tragically, as time went on, Randolph Scott's life took a more somber turn. Though he enjoyed a successful career as a Western hero, his later years were marked by isolation. After retiring from acting in 1962, Scott lived a quiet life out of the spotlight. He outlived many of his peers and suffered the emotional toll of seeing those he was closest to, including Cary Grant, passed away. His ending, much like his life, was marked by quiet sadness. The tragic nature of his later years contrasts starkly with the vibrant, scandalous life he once lived alongside Cary Grant. In the end, Scott's life remains a testament to the complexities of fame, friendship, and love in a time when the price of being yourself was far too high. Scott married Patricia Stillman in 1944, and the couple had two daughters, Sandra and Christopher. Scott's marriage was a central part of his life, and he was known for his dedication to his family and his desire to maintain a sense of privacy away from the Hollywood spotlight. Scott retired from acting in 1962 after a successful career that spanned over 3 decades. In retirement, he focused on his interests in real estate and philanthropy, contributing to various charitable causes and enjoying a quieter life away from the public eye. Randolph Scott had 2 strokes before he died. Scott died of heart and lung ailments in 1987 at the age of 89 in Beverly Hills, California. He was interred at Elmwood Cemetery in Charlotte, North Carolina. Randolph Scott's impact on the film industry, particularly in the Western genre, is enduring. His portrayal of strong, principled characters helped to define an era of American filmmaking and established him as one of the great icons of classic Hollywood. His films continue to be celebrated for their craftsmanship, storytelling, and the timeless appeal of Scott's performances. His contributions to the art of cinema and his role as a cultural icon remain a testament to his talent and enduring legacy. Randolph Scott's career is a shining example of dedication, talent, and the ability to captivate audiences with powerful performances. His work in westerns not only entertained but also reflected the values and ideals of his time. As we remember Randolph Scott, we celebrate not only his contributions to the film industry but also the enduring impact he has had on American cinema. His legacy lives on through the films he made, the characters he portrayed, and the memories he created for generations of moviegoers.